Welcome to SoulWhat, a Soultopia production. Every Tuesday, Michelle and Roger Welch take a deep dive into the intriguing and proactive world of metaphysics, a world beyond our human perception. They'll talk to empaths, readers, and other guests from all walks of life to find out what's hiding under the surface, uncover the mysteries of our modern world, and reveal the answers you need to live a happy, healthier life. Now, here's your hosts, Michelle and Roger Welch.
Hello, how you doing, you guys?
What's up? What's up? So obviously we're not in studio tonight. We are in Colorado because this week is our show we go to, INATS, and the Cover Awards, where we were nominated for 6 awards, won 5. We just don't know what we won yet. Cool, sort of.
Yeah.
We know Michelle's book though won something. So
We know all 5 of them won something.
yeah, five
Five
out
of
of 6 won something.
Yeah.
And Michelle's book won something though, so we're excited to see what it is, right?
I'm excited for all of them. Yeah, but
Are you
excited
sure?
about the book. Yeah.
Okay.
So the INATS is the International New Age Trade Show, and I don't know if it's always been held in Denver, Colorado.
As long as we've been going. I mean,
as
we've been
long
going like 10, 11, 12 years, something like that.
Yeah, and Cover is the Coalition of
Visionary.
Visionary Resources,
Mhm.
and they give out awards each year at INATS. So they even gave out awards last year, and Roger won quite a few last year. I'd say it was mostly your products that won, your spray, your Florida water.
Florida
won last year.
water, Dragon's Blood
Actually,
Sage.
You know, it was interesting last year or today we went in to a couple of stores here in Colorado Springs. We always like to go in other metaphysical or new age, whatever you want to call them, stores, holistic stores, and we buy something. We try to in every store we go into because we like to support other stores because we know what it's like to own a. You don't use the word term apparently brick and mortar store anymore, but I don't know why, because that's really what it is.
Is that not allowed anymore?
Well, I mean, I used it one time. They're like, you don't use that anymore. I'm like, well, what is it? Because it is like a storefront, and it's as opposed to just being online.
You probably hurt somebody's feelings.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and so we like to support all the other storefronts, brick and mortar stores. I'm going to use it, and so we go in, and usually it's Roger that gets something.
Yeah, I did.
I would say because I'm like,
want to see what I got? It's in a bag right there.
So usually it's an Athame or whatever, or not. But this time he got he'll get it. But so it was interesting because he found something different this time. And you just turn off that light just so you know. Sorry, it doesn't matter, baby. So it's been interesting going to these award shows because what I was going to tell you guys, don't distract me for a second. What I saw was last year he won for his Florida water, which we've talked about a lot because his doesn't cause cancer, to be blunt. It doesn't have carcinogens in it. I saw they were selling at 2 of the stores we went in today the stuff that you shouldn't buy. It's that little pretty bottle, and I'm just telling you. And they had it at one of the places. They were selling it for $20.
Yeah.
And I was like, they need to be carrying Rogers. He won it, and that's the one you should be using because it doesn't have those carcinogens in it. So show them what you got.
Check this box out.
Oh, that's really
cool. A box. Yeah, so there's a box, and it has the aliens and the UFOs around and on the front.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So is that big enough to hold your cards, your alien cards?
It will. Yes, it will fit should set a regular size.
Yeah, regular. These are Jennifer Stridley's.
Yeah, these are a little thicker cards, so it won't close with a lid on it.
But it's probably a regular.
These are a little thicker though.
Yeah.
Yeah, this deck's a little thicker, so it wouldn't. But I could put a regular deck in there with no problem.
Isn't that cool?
That's cool.
Little box.
Oh,
They had some cool things at that store.
Yeah, pretty cool.
What was the name of that store? Do you remember? I'd like to give them a shout out, but I can't remember. It's Colorado Springs.
Yes, Colorado Springs.
And it was
little yellow
can't
house.
remember. It was cute.
Here,
And
I'll look it up.
Actually, the guy working there was really nice. He was working on some things behind the counter. He didn't have to get up or anything. I mean, our store stayed, how do I say this in a nice way? Our stores are so busy that the people who work there can't really stay behind the counter all the time, right? Because you need to help people in the store. He was able to kind of stay behind the counter and work on making products. And so I went into, they had 2 cats in the store that one was Blossom and one was Bridget. And so it was really nice. And they had on the front of the store, we have store cats. So if you're allergic, just know you may have a reaction. There are all these warnings on the store, the front door. What's the name of it?
All right, it's called Mountain Metaphysical Shop.
Yeah, so we had fun
Metaphysical Shop. It is in, it's in Colorado Springs. It's on the way up to Manitou Springs. Yeah. Just directly, it's called Pikes Peak Avenue. I believe it's actually the street it's on.
Yeah, we were worn out by the time we got, there's one in Manitou Springs.
Colorado Avenue.
There's one in Manitou Springs also that we were told to go to, but I was too tired by the time and hungry.
She wasn't hungry. She was hangry.
Yeah, I was ready to
she needed one Betty White Snickers bar. She was already turning.
So we're here for a couple days, and we are going to then go to Denver.
Yeah.
For the International New Age Trade Show, because last year they couldn't have it or didn't have it because of all this stuff, Yeah. And so this year will be fun to get to see people and then have the awards dinner, and
that's Saturday night.
Yeah. And so no matter what,
we'll post some pictures and videos. We'll try to.
Yeah, we'll be sitting with the Llewellyn crew, the Llewellyn who publishes my books. Yep. So that'll be fun.
Yeah. They invited us. Little did they know we'd show up.
Yeah, no, they knew we show up.
Oh, they did? Oh.
Yeah, they know we show up. We're always there. We've done everything from have a vending table where we sold some of our bracelets to we've decided that wholesale's probably not really the direction we're going in for our stores. Maybe some things.
We still for select few people will wholesale to them. We don't try to go out and market wholesaling, but if there's a select few people that want to buy some wholesale stuff, we will do that.
And as we open more Soultopias, we'll be providing the goods and wares, I guess, and things for those stores. But anyway, it's been fun to be here. It rained a little bit. I felt like we were in Florida in a way, because you know how in Florida every day it rains a little bit. That's how it feels here. I didn't know it did that in Colorado.
It doesn't normally. It rained. It was a storm though yesterday coming in. We were actually on track to get in early. However, we got in just about time, I think, because they had to circle the airport because of the storm here in Colorado. And
we had a little weather on the plane.
Some people doesn't make it so well on the plane when there's like turbulence.
I didn't see the plane angels holding up the plane. Let's just put it that way. I didn't see any angels around the plane. I saw a lot of not good stuff around the plane, and people were kind of getting there was a big woo drop, and Roger or somebody, a couple of people go, oh, it's like a roller coaster, and I'm like, I don't like roller coasters, so this is not fun to me, so get this plane on the ground. And he finally did.
What's crazy is that I've never been on a big plane till I was like, I don't know, 22-ish. Believe it or not.
Little ones.
Yeah. Well, so I never had gone anywhere where you had to fly. It was the big thing. I always drove wherever, right? And so I was on this plane. Everybody's like, oh, this is your first trip. I'm like, yeah, my first trip. Oh, God, you're going to get, that's what scared the shit out of you. It's your first trip. It's how horrible the planes are. They do this, they do, everybody's giving you the horror stories, right? And so I literally land and they start calling me. All the guys that work for me calling me, right? And I'm like, y'all are so full of shit. Let me just tell you. I told you I'd never been in a big plane. I'd always been in small planes and ultralights. When they drop, they drop.
Yeah.
Big planes, it doesn't bother me in big planes at all.
They free fall.
They just like whatever. It's, they do have that little whoosh. And we even did one that was, I was going to Chicago one time, and because in Chicago, sometimes they loop out over the lake and come back into land. And when it did, it caught a wind shear up, and the whole plane went up on its side.
Well, for those of us, it was out of Dallas, obviously, to hear, and there were quite a few Dallasites on the plane, and the people sitting behind us were talking about the year that we had the wind shear and the horrible plane crash that hit the highway, Matt, if you remember, if you were living, and so in it, that for some reason the weather just reminded me of that, and that's why I just wasn't really comfortable. Those of us who remember that day and remember the fact that it was a wind shear, and it was a day kind of just like that day. It wasn't a horrible day that day. The weather wasn't horrible the day that horrible crash happened. Okay, enough about crashes. What are we going to talk about tonight? Not plane crashes. We're going to talk about something else.
All right. So the Spirits Unveiled official date was the 7th.
What is today?
That's today. Well, technically, they told us originally the 8th. Then they said, "Oh, we'll have it there by the 7th." So we had some in the store last week.
This is my book.
This is the real deal, fully loaded. Unlike the ones we had last 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, that was not fully loaded. It had blank pages, but this one is a fully loaded.
That was a stunt book that we had.
It was a stunt book.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
Stunt book, yeah.
Yeah, the real ones are in because if you had pre-ordered on Amazon, Amazon was delivering the books today because we had a lot of friends that had ordered the books and they've been posting them today on Amazon.
Right.
And tagging everybody.
So it's my book, Spirits, my second book. And it's actually, Roger was correcting me, it's not my second book. We wrote Pendulum Palooza, our pendulum book. And what else did you say?
So we have Pendulum Palooza, which is our pendulum book that we wrote together. Michelle wrote it. I just did the diagrams. And
just together.
So
I couldn't do diagrams.
Yeah. So that was the first thing. Second was your
The
magic of connection. We have the card deck that we have. Michelle wrote the entire book by herself on that. I just took pictures. She took and did the book. That's going to be really good to learn crystals from that for sure. And then this would be the fourth. Did I count that right? Yeah, fourth book.
But this is the second one that's
1, 2,
published,
3,
coming
4.
out by Lou
So-
Ellen. So really the second
Yeah.
published book by
Second
Lou
published
Ellen.
by, yeah. And then you have the ones that will come that you got to finish next week.
Yeah, I have one due next week too.
Yeah. So that'd be the fifth, actually, technically the fifth book.
I
that
can't
you've-
count anymore.
That
So-
you've actually written. So technically.
Yeah, so this one is The Spirits Unveiled, and the subtitle is A Fresh Perspective on Angels, Guides, Ghosts, and More. And I like to say that and more is a lot, just it's about almost like every spirit being you can think of. So anything you can think of that is a spiritual being, so ghosts, demons, aliens, extraterrestrials, if you don't think of them as aliens, whatever you think of them as, elementals, fairies, any type of being is covered in this book. It's not an encyclopedia on these beings. There's a really good book that we have at the store. I don't remember the name of it right now. I think, Matt, you've looked at it before. You may even have it. I can't remember, but you've looked at it.
We have it.
We have it. I know I've shown it to Matt before, but it's not an encyclopedia on all the different types of beings that there are. There are a
yeah,
lot
I
of
think
them.
I do have that. I think it's probably in the other room, but I do have that one.
Yeah, there's a lot of good encyclopedia type
Mhm.
books like that. That's not what this is. This is a little bit different.
So tell us, how is this different? What does this do?
Okay, so this one is different in the sense that it goes into how you, anyone reading the book, can connect. You can identify a spirit around you, the fact that they are around you. You can identify them. You can, and each chapter has these types of things in it, these kind of common things in it, how you can identify them, how you can connect with them if you want to, how you can honor them, how you can collaborate with them, how you can protect from them if you choose to protect against them, or protect yourself from them, how you can, and some at the very last thing in each chapter about the different beings is some demystifying or debunking of some things that I don't agree with that maybe have been repeated over and over and over again about these different types of beings. Yeah, so every chapter has the same kind of layout about how you can, and I'll tell you what they are. It's how you how you identify them. So actually how you introduce, it's introducing, and I give a little story in each. It may be about me, it may be about somebody that some of you may know, or some of you may be introduced to, people that I have the stories from that have had encounters with different types of beings. And these beings may be your loved ones too, people that have passed, and how you identify them, and then how you connect with them, and how you, connecting is a pretty big chapter, how you protect, like I said, if you want to, how you honor them, and then the demystifying. And every chapter has those same things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very
So that's
cool.
how it's different than just an encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed. There's no pictures in here. Not
The
sure
next-
I will make it through.
The
here.
next book's going to have
No
a few
pictures.
pictures. The next book's going to have some pictures. Yeah.
I guess I'll have to use my imagination.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So tell us then on this one, your first book, Magic of Connection, it was all about connecting with people, correct?
So the magic,
Or how we connect with people.
right. So
Right.
the magic of connection is all about how we're all connected, and we're all connected to everything. And that's a really good question, because this book is all about how we are how spirits are all connected, and which ones you want to connect to. And then my next book is how you connect. It's going to be called Psychic Playbook, and it's how you can connect to things. So it goes from kind of opposite. It kind of goes from the big overall to what types of spirits there are, and then how you can be psychic, because everyone has
So how you
psychic
can
ability.
work with it and work with these spirits, the people spirits, whatever,
Any type
of spirit
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a great question, because it goes kind of from the magic of connection is kind of the broad overall umbrella to all the types of beings that there are. Obviously I don't name all of them, because there's so many in Spirits Unveiled. And then the next book will be how you use them.
John.
Yeah.
You named them like that?
Roger.
Okay. Just making sure.
And Matt.
Matt.
Of course.
Okay. So, all right. So your process of writing, because I live with you, so I get it, but is all over the place.
Yeah.
But no, you really, on your first book, your process of writing through that book, I mean, well, first your Magic of Connection book, but your process of writing through that, did you find ways that didn't work in that process that worked better in this process, or that you changed how you did it?
Well, yes. What I'm learning is that to not throw anything away, because what I did was I would write stuff and I'd say that's not any good, and I would just like trash it. And obviously with the computer you can dig it out of the trash bin if you don't, get rid of your trash. But I would lose stuff. I also, just a silly little thing, I learned how to label things better on my computer. I was never really taught how to be an author. It's not something I thought I was going to be. And I'm still kind of
Creating the files.
that even learning that, using that term is very uncomfortable to me, that I would be this type of, I wrote a lot as an attorney, but not like this at all. So for the Magic of Connection, and then I was writing that card deck at the same time as I was trying to write Spirits Unveiled. And I got really confused. I was just all over the place, and I'm all over the place most of the time anyway. I do have severe ADHD, and for anyone who does, it's no laughing matter. It's a very serious thing. And I also struggle with some severe depression, and I talk about it in Spirits Unveiled. I think a lot of people who have a lot of psychic knowingness, not that you have to have it, to hopefully you don't, to have to see spirits and things like that, but sometimes it's maybe a side, some trauma in your life, maybe those, I'll just say those of us who detach from our bodies very easily and it kind of get outside of our bodies, maybe I see some similarities of those who actually sense and see spirits a lot. So so the writing, I had to learn how to not be so ADHD and how to really hone in on what I am really writing and not be all over the place. And I'm getting better with each book, I think, a little bit better. It drives the publishers and the editors crazy, I'm sure.
And now this one here, I know, is full of stories. It's not just your personal stories, but other people's stories too.
Right.
Even some of my kin folks.
You're right.
They even made it in, which, by the way, she said we got to send her a book too.
Of course.
So remember that next week we got to send her a book.
Oh, well,
Or she's gonna
she
kill
probably
me.
needs about 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, she's gonna kill me if I don't send it, because she asked me like a week ago and I forgot.
Yeah, it's actually a very sad, the part in the book that you want to tell that your cousin's in. And by the way, anytime you put someone in a book, at least with my publisher, Llewellyn Worldwide, you get permissions. It's their legal permission slips for them to be in the book. So anything that we're talking about, we have permission because it's in the book, it's published, but there are legal permissions or waivers that they sign to be in the book. So we're not.
You can't just make up a story about Matt and just slap it in there.
Well,
without an okay.
No, I cannot.
Right.
But we could have made up some great shit about Matt and just thrown it in there.
We could have, but we didn't.
I would have loved to have heard it.
Yeah. So Lori,
let me ask. Okay, is that your favorite story you put in here?
I don't have a favorite. I really don't. I think it's a very interesting. My court cases, because I'm a lawyer, I think the court case is very interesting. But Lori's is pretty good. Yeah. Lori's stories are very interesting. Lori is in the. I don't even know if it fell in the chapter on loved ones, but hers is about loved ones. It might have fallen in a different chapter. I think it fell in the loved ones chapter, but it came in another places too.
And the thing is that she actually lost, in a very short period of time, she lost her dad, her brother, and a daughter. So we're not going to go through the whole story tonight, but
you read the book.
Read the book. But that's, and so that's a lot of direct death, really close, in a very short period of time.
2 years.
Yeah. So a very short period of time. And it's not, and it's not a book about how to deal with that, but it's how we connect with that, right? And
well, both a little bit, because it does talk about that grief. And it talks about grief of any sort. So any kind of loss that you have, it can talk about it in there. Any even loss. Not that spirits are about a job or anything, but it does get a little bit into grief because of the nature of that. But yes, she had, in a short period of time, it talked about how she did connect with them, which helped her with her grief. Yeah. So it does get into talking about grief. It also tells you ways to talk to those you love before they cross. And I go into what does cross mean. I don't really like that word, because what are we crossing? The river Styx? I mean, where are we going? I go into all that. I tend to question everything anyway. I don't just take anything at face value, and I don't expect you guys to. When you read the book, you take what makes sense, and you just, mull over some of it, and the rest you may go, yeah, I don't agree with that. And that's just fine. But the stories, like Roger's cousin, she lost her father, and he communicated with her through very interesting ways that you'll read in the book, and then lost her brother in a very tragic way in the book. And Roger was close to him as well, and Roger had loss of all three of these people too. And then very tragically, her daughter, which is just a very tragic story. And then I also give you resources in the book for for loss, these weren't, well, one was a suicide, and you will read in the book, but one of those three. But I give resources for suicide center, for depression, for mental health, for all of those things are in the book. But also just ways that, like, while we're still living and we've done this exercise, there's an exercise in the book where you go through and you say, how Roger, if I was to just say die, let's say I was to pass, let's use that word term. If I was to pass first, would you know what kind of music I would play? What kind of music do you think? And so we'll go through this exercise. What numbers I might
wait? I got the answer.
He's going to make a joke. Here it comes. What?
It's the one that plays 5 times in a row, over and over and
That's
over.
right.
Whatever fucking is playing, if it plays 5 times in a row, it was Michelle.
Yeah, because if I really like a song, I play it over and over and over and over again until I can't.
Have you not heard her in her office when she's getting ready, Matt, and she plays the same song over and over and over?
No, but I know people like that, and it drives me. I mean, I'm like that to a degree, I think, but maybe not one after another. But I know people like that, and it drives me crazy sometimes.
Now you'll be sitting in there getting ready. You'll hear that song playing over and over. You'll like,
I do it.
God dang it!
No, I do it, but you go through this exercise, and it has the book tended to have the number 11. Everything's 11, so there's 11 ways to. There's 11 questions. So there's 11 questions that you ask your loved one, and you can do that exercise together. You can also do the exercise if they've already passed. So you could say, what do I think that, my grandmother, my great mama would have, where would she have gotten in touch with me? For me, it's when I'm fishing. She taught me with a cane pole how to fish. So I would know she's going to get, it wouldn't be at a cemetery. I don't have to go to the cemetery to meet with her. I'm going to meet with her out at the lake. So it's things like that.
Why 11?
11 is a pretty magical number. 11 is a master number. And it just seemed to be the number that came out for me in this book.
Okay.
I think because it's a master number.
All right. So, and you have exercises too. Is it like each chapter has an exercise on working with it?
More than one, a lot of them. And I'd really encourage you to do them. If there's one you get to and you're like, I don't like that. Some of them you may get to and you may go, yeah, I get it. I know we're supposed to ask each other what songs, but we kind of know that. Just really get yourself to do it. I had a friend and her mom, let's see if I may have told this story already, but I'll tell it again. Her mother is older now, and she has Alzheimer's. And I had her do this exercise with her mother, and her mother became much more lucid, the one I just talked about, as she was talking about songs that she and her deceased, her husband had already passed, and she became lucid as they began to talk about things. So this is a really good exercise. So any of the exercises in the book, if you kind of think, oh yeah, I'll just come back to that, just take a few minutes and do them, because you will be surprised that what will come out of them, even if it says, oh yeah. So another thing is I give a list of when with ghosts and disincarnates, I give a list of how they're around and what they might be. And you might have heard some of it before. It might be something like, okay, so there's a certain smell, and no, it's not always sulfur. It may be a smell of perfume or something.
Yeah.
And so you've read that, but go ahead and really read and don't just skim over it, because I usually in there, I will give a different opinion than probably what you've read before. Because for me, I'm very quick just switching over to ghost, if you don't mind.
Nope.
So I say, engage before you sage. So what I mean by that is a lot of people will just get out their sage, they get out their stuff to get rid of ghosts. And I really have a problem with that, because I think if ghosts are appearing in a space that you're in, they probably are there. Either you've kind of come into their space. So if there was one in this hotel that we're in, I'm going to say, okay, let me meet you, but not to exploit that ghost. I don't like ghost hunters that do that. I think that first, let me just say this. A ghost hunter that is surprised to see a ghost. Okay, so if you're a really good fisherman, are you surprised when you catch a fish? Like if you're really good, like you're a bass fisherman and you have a bass show, are you surprised when you see a fish? No, right?
You're excited when you get
when you catch a fish.
You're excited that you're not
like. If you catch a fish about this big, are you surprised?
No,
they're catching fish all the time. So why are ghost hunters surprised when they see ghosts?
Because they don't really believe.
Because they don't really see them. Okay, they're full of it, and I'm calling them out on it. They're full of it, and I don't like how they agitate ghosts either. Because what you do is you, I'll call you. Call me, Zach. I don't care. I don't even know who you are, because I don't watch your show because it bugs me. So what I say you do is you talk to them calmly. You talk to them respectfully. And even if it's a mean ghost, say, what is it? Like, what's going on with you? Why are you behaving this way? What? And they've probably been agitated so much that that's why they're the way they are.
Yeah, I agree with that. By the way, as a break, the painting behind us is the hotel we're staying in. And I'm looking up because I have my iPad sitting over here, guys. And it looks like something, it doesn't look that attractive, but the actual painting is really super cool. And I found out the whole hotel, they have original artwork through the whole hotel, including this. It's actually one of the paintings that where it has a lot of texture to it and everything.
I love the modality. I was going to ask Callie French, or one of the people the artists, it's the oils that where you do a lot of thick oil on top with the scrape thing. And I want to learn to do it, even though,
Yeah.
But the couch is really not attractive that we're sitting on.
So judging
really
from
close
that,
together.
judging from that, it looks like is this a historic hotel that you're in?
It is. It's been here since 1900. It's called the Mining Exchange in Colorado Springs. It's in the downtown, the old part. And so it's we have a corner room, and it has like exposed brick, and of course it's got a lot of, been updated too, but it still has like the old original wood arched windows and exposed brick. I had to kind of close because we had a lot of natural light coming in here.
Have you seen any ghosts here?
I haven't actually got out really,
I haven't
seen anything really or felt anything weird.
That's what I was going to ask, to bring it back to the book. I mean, I guess that could be a good question. I mean, obviously, I think your book is probably, really geared towards people who are encountering spirits in their normal everyday lives, in their homes or in their workplaces or whatever. But, I mean, how do you go about dealing with spirits that you may encounter, say on vacation? Let's say you go to a hotel and there are spirits there. Should you try to engage with them, or should you be like, you're in your space, I'm only here for a moment, and then I'm passing through? How do you do that?
That's a great question. I would say if you're going and just all of a sudden you sense one or see them, and I want to go backwards because I think everybody can sense and see. So the book does teach you a little bit how to do that too, to be aware that they're all around you. So it's not just for this special people that know how to sense and see spirits, because even if you don't sense and see spirits, I promise you guys, they are around you all the time. So if you're in a hotel, as long as you're respectful of their space, I say, they're there. And as long as the hotel's not trapping them there, because I think sometimes they trap them there because of a tourist trap. Matt, you've heard me say this before, as a tourist trap kind of thing. And there probably have been people there, other psychic medium type people, or even good ghost hunters, because there are good paranormal ghost hunter people. My husband's one of them, that help, kind of quote unquote, help them go to the light. Maybe that spirit doesn't want to. And so if you're in a hotel that's known for that, maybe that ghost enjoys that. And so you talk to that, you can say, like at the Brown in Denver, that place is filled with spirits.
Oh yeah, that one's a good one there.
And it is filled with spirits. And it's not just the ones they talk about in the book. There are all kinds of elementals there, little fairies flying around. And you just talk to them, and literally you can just talk out loud, and the historian of the Brown will even tell you about them. And there's a waiter that he's literally in full form. I thought it was a real way. I knew that it was like, okay, you look like you're dressed up in old timey clothes, but it was a real. I mean,
that was the first time we stayed there.
Yeah, the first time, and it was. I was even taken aback because I thought this was a real person dressed up, and so I would say. Count, you don't have to stay out of their space. They'll let you know if they want you to stay out of their space, and it will, and I don't scare easily. I did when I was little, but I have scared easily when a spirit doesn't want me around, and I'll be like, okay, I'll back off, and you'll know. But you don't need to be scared of all spirits. They're everywhere. I mean, spirits, and a lot of people, if you don't believe me, I'm not saying it just to be sensationalist. I was hesitant to write this book. I'm a little nervous still to write the book, because people think, okay, she's just, making that stuff up to be sensationalist. No, I could have been a lot more sensationalist in the book, right? Than I was. Yeah. I could have played the stories up, the things I write about up a lot more, but they are. I remember we were walking through in Vegas. Okay. So in Vegas, there's human form people around you a lot anyway already. Yeah. Right. And I was like, I am so claustrophobic here, because not only are there the people in full form here, there are so many despondent spirits around in the what are they called? The casinos. They're just despondent. There's some happy ones, but there's a lot of despondent spirits that just hang around, and I can't stand it. I really just, as a person, as a soul, I can't, it hurts me. So I can't hang out. Plus the smoke hurts me. But even when you go in the parts that are non-smoking, it just really bothers me. Yeah. But great question. Go up and talk to them. I mean, and I always said my best example is, long answer to your question, but my best example is, not Roger, Tyler, my oldest son, one time said, he was in San Francisco, and he said, like, the hangers are rattling in my closet. And I said, like, is it an earthquake? And he's like, no, it's not an earthquake. He said, no, something's moving the hangers in my closet. He said, what do I do to get it to stop? And I say, you go ask them what they want. What are they trying to tell you? No, I need a sage. What sage? Do I need to light a candle? And I said, no, go ask them what they're trying to tell you. And it was an older place that he was living in. And so that's what you do. Then if you need to get something to get rid of them, then you can get your sage and clear it and all that stuff. But really, if something's trying to communicate with you, why wouldn't you want to find out what they have to say?
That's right.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's a mistake or that's the biggest mistake that people make when it comes to dealing with spirits, is like it's immediately a hostile relationship where, it would be, I guess, equivalent to someone coming up and trying to talk to you and you start shoving them away? Is that kind of the same thing?
I do. I do. And I think that if they don't want you in their space, like you said, they'll let you know. But most of them probably are like, and what would you feel like if somebody's like coming up and spraying, stuff and smoking, getting sage and incense and, doing all these things to get you to go away. And you're like, I really just wanted somebody to talk to. I'm lonely.
Or yelling at you.
You're yelling at you, or,
I don't like people yelling at me.
So, I agree. I think I think that's probably the biggest mistake they make. And it's the main thing that we do, right? That's the main thing we're told to do. In fact, that's what I used to tell people to do. Okay, there's a spirit there. So what do? You grab your sage, you clear the space. And now in my stores, because we do, Matt, this, you've sensed one there, I believe, or two or three, or, a couple that we've introduced you to. And there's, when they're ready to go, I'll help them go. I would never trap them and say, you have to stay here. But until they're ready to go, I tell people, please, unless they're, let's talk to them. Don't just be saging and putting black salt and black tourmaline, all this stuff until they're ready to go, because there's a reason they're there.
What made you change your mind then about that? Because you said you used to be that way and now you're not. Now you've written this book about, maybe other ways of dealing with it. What changed your mind?
Thank you for asking that. It's what changed my mind seriously. It's what changed my mind about a lot of things, is listening to what I knew instead of what other people were telling me. I was reading books, and I'm going to be specific, and I'm going to get some friends of mine. They're spiritualists, the Theosophists, and there's a lot of books, and they're all written by a certain group of people, and they will say, this is how you have to do certain things, mediumship and certain things. I'm not saying I don't agree with them on many, many things, but there are some things that I absolutely know from my experiences that I do not agree with. Now, that doesn't mean they're wrong and I'm right. It just means that I have a different opinion. And it was finally time for me to say, this is my opinion and this is my experience, even though every single, and I'm literally not kidding, every book I ever have picked up, does it not tell you? Clear, sage, clear the space, do this. If there's a spirit around, this is what you do. You should immediately try to send it to the light. Yep. And I finally just said, wait, that's not my experience since I've been little. That's not and I've seen spirits since I was little. And when everything, when I was allowed, because I wasn't allowed to read books like this when so as I got older, I started reading the books and they all told me opposite of what I knew. So finally I'm writing what I believe instead of what I'm reading that other people believe. So do I cite a lot of people who say to do this? No, because not a lot of people are saying what I'm saying. It's me. Yeah. So, I'm not saying I'm the only one, but do you hear many people saying,
no.
Yeah.
No.
So that's why what changed my mind was just finally saying, I don't have to, it's okay to say what I think, and people can agree with me or not agree with me, they can choose what they believe. Another chapter in the book is how to connect with animals and connect with your animals that are living and your animals that are crossed. So I think of beings. I thought of this as Roger was flipping through the book right here, and he just happened to chapter 5, I think, and I call it animal spirits. Now, this is not just what Native American tribes and indigenous tribes call animal totems. It's not just about that. This is also connecting with animal spirits. So you can have animals that are in spirit. We all have, loved ones that are in spirit, or loved one animals that are in spirit also. So we talk about that in the book. But we also talk about how animals can also help us, certain kinds of animals. I approach that in a little bit different way too. A lot of books will give you a list of animals, and then they'll tell you what that animal does for you. What I do is I give you a list of issues, like maybe for me, it might be focus, decision-making, and change. And then I say, look up those 3 issues and then see, and I list 11 animals out by each issue. And then I have you kind of cross-reference and find 2 or 3 animals that overlap. And then those animals, you can go and research about those animals. So it's a little different direction than most books take on that too. So that the chapter on animal spirits talks about what
like 5 pages of those lists.
5 pages of those lists. And then what I demystify in that chapter too is really is about I talk about how we're not always, we think we save animals so much. And we think somehow we got the idea that we're over animals, but I think animals save us. I think animals are oftentimes, I'll get teary-eyed, but I think animals are here for us many times, and they're here to save us, and they're here to help us. And so I really give honor and tribute to animals in that chapter, as opposed to us being, that yes, they are innocent in many ways, but in many ways, they are so much more wise than we are. And so that's the thing I try to demystify and talk about in the book a little bit too, about animals.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's another chapter on animals. So I kind of approach that from both directions, from them being able to help us, the different types of animals, and then also, that they are also part of that loved ones chapter, that we can go and deal with them, and what we can learn from our animals, from our loved ones. So I also, what else?
You told me this term today. False. Oh God.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, imposter syndrome. So
do you know what that is, Matt?
You ever heard of this?
Yeah, I do.
Well, hell, I was like, well, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But then she explained it to me.
Do you ever feel imposter syndrome, Matt, about anything, about what you do?
Oh yeah, sure, all the time. Yeah, I think it's something I've had to probably overcome a little bit. Especially when it comes to like just recently, having to speak in public about it. It's you have to kind of get over the fact that or get over your feelings of not knowing or feeling like you don't know anything or whatever. I think you have to partially accept that everybody kind of makes it up as you go along, and that helps. That helps me at least.
Yeah. See, and I look at you and I think I'm like, oh, like Matt's so accomplished, and so you look, imposter syndrome. I was telling Roger, is something where we feel like we're imposters in the thing that we do, and so as an author, many people will feel like they're an imposter, and they don't want to call themselves an author. And so I still am not comfortable calling myself an author. I still fall back on, I don't even practice law anymore at all. And it was a big accomplishment, but I don't practice. I own stores with Roger. This is what we do. And now I write books, but it's hard for me to say I'm an author. You feel like, oh, you're not an author until I don't know what threshold you have to cross. Matt Orwin, who spoke at our Tide event, which Matt, was a part of, we were all part of, it was a success. his book, Psychic Witch, is, I think of him as an author. He's like, it's now, I think, hit number 3 again on all the lists.
So, but you got it. You're published by Llewellyn. You've got another card deck coming out of Llewellyn. You got another book out with Llewellyn. You've got another book with Llewellyn. So I'm pretty sure that's a track record now of what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're getting there.
And you'd be proud of her today. She went into the store and she said, "Oh, hi, I'm Michelle. I'm an author with Llewellyn."
There you go.
Yeah, that was really
Have you got my book?
Yeah.
Here's a card. This is what my book looks like. You should order it.
Yeah.
He was really, they didn't have any of the people's books.
They only had like a small shelf of books. That the store's more, herby, crystals, stuff like that.
I think a lot of people have imposter syndrome, and I didn't even really know what that would feel like. I don't remember really having that as an attorney. I guess I was just too naive. I thought I knew everything when I was 24 years old. The older you get, I guess you should get more confident, but you get more like you realize how much you don't know. The more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know. The more I study, and the more I study these matters and things like that, the more, and I do love to learn from other people. What I was saying earlier about disagreeing with some people, that doesn't mean I don't want to learn from other people. I love to learn from other people, and that makes me realize how much I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's a lot, it's a lot. I don't claim to know nearly everything. So I think the older we get, the more we sometimes may get that imposter syndrome.
So what we're going to do now to get over that?
I don't know.
Here's what I would say is I would look at it from like an outside perspective, right? Like if you were to have you on the show, as a guest, and you look at their bio and they've written a couple of different books and they've got a card deck, like what would you call them? You would call them an author, right? Like in your introduction to them, you wouldn't skip over that part and not mention that when you were introducing them. So I think that can be a way of looking at it. Like, anybody else would call you an author, so you can too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Exactly what it is.
Yeah. You just can't say you're a best-selling author yet, but we'll get there someday.
Well, you'll get there. Yeah.
How do you know?
Yeah.
This is it right here.
This is it. This is
Everybody go buy Spirits Unveiled today.
Hey, y'all want to hear a really cool story? So Roger we talked about the mock-up book, right? At the beginning, we talked I don't know what they called it, whatever, y'all had a cool name for it. What'd you call it, Matt?
I can't even remember. Yeah.
So we had the kind of the fake one before.
Let me know in the comments. That's your trivia question. What did I say earlier?
Yeah. What did Matt call it? The stock something or something. He called it a cool name. And then, but Roger,
stunt book, I think is what we called it. Yeah.
Stunt book.
The stunt book. That was so cool. Okay. So he called it the stunt book. Did you know that Roger had no idea that when the real one came out, it was going to be matte finish too. So this is not a glossy finish. You can't really tell, but it is a matte cover. And Roger is such a psychic himself that he literally, the stunt cover was a matte finish. And then the real cover, doesn't it look almost exactly the same? And,
and that's very important to us, by the way, because for those that don't know, whenever you're trying to get something to show on camera, if it's a glossy finish, it just looks, like a mirror, basically. So having that was very the book that you've seen on set for the last few weeks has been that stunt book.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because the Magic of Connection book's very glossy finish on it, and it's a pain in the ass because every time she's on a podcast, I've got to arrange the book, the lights, the camera.
Shift it.
You got to shift it and keep shifting and looking to get that glare out of there. It's a little bit of work to it.
I do want to throw in that on my first book, The Magic of Connection, Benabelle Wynn wrote the foreword to that one, and she will be speaking at Newt's at the Northwest Tarot Symposium. She'll be a keynote speaker. Ethany Dawn wrote the foreword to this one, to Spirits Unveiled, and she will be
doing bingo.
She spoke at Tide, and she's gonna be doing bingo and what's the other trivia, and because she wants to just come hang out.
She just wants to come and play.
So we'll find something to do. But she wrote the foreword to this one. I don't know what time it is, but I just wanted to make sure we gave
10 minutes.
We gave them. They wrote those are really great people to have the forwards, and I'm so
Yeah.
appreciative. And we had great blurbs, and the people who wrote both. And so now I got to figure out, y'all need to let me know who should write the forward to the Psychic Playbook, the one that's coming out, because I need to get them to write the forward really soon.
Yeah.
So y'all should let me know who should write the forward to that. So
I'll do it.
So, okay, done. So
You'll know what that's going to sound like.
Yeah.
But y'all, I really am proud of this book, and I really am grateful to the people who told their personal stories in it. Some of them are very, very personal stories. Mine are, they're very vulnerable. They make themselves very vulnerable in this book. And I hope to have some of them on the podcast in future, maybe all of them at once. I don't know if we could do this over a couple of them, but they were very vulnerable in this book of things that they've been through in their lives. In particular, Ashley Daniel, that works for us, was very vulnerable. She is extremely psychic and is a very dear friend, and is very, very open about a lot of things she's been through in her life. That I really, really hope you guys enjoy this book. You will learn a lot, and you will learn how to connect with these spirits. Do we want to do a few readings?
If you want to, we've already got time to do a couple. And just so you guys know too, we were talking about it today about doing a book launch for Michelle in person. And did you get a actual date?
Excuse me, it will be the 17th or the 18th of June. That's really the only time we have. So it'll either be that Friday or Saturday. And so y'all just mark both dates, and it'll be.
We're thinking about doing it at the Frisco Soultopia location. So in Frisco, Texas, Soultopia.
So
we do it up there. We can kind of make some space out.
Yes, you're all invited to be come and go.
Bring your books, get it autographed.
Yeah.
Buy an extra book for your friends.
Yeah.
2 books for your friends.
And so the books are available. Yeah, the books are available on Amazon, Soultopia, Llewellyn, a lot of local bookstores, Books A Million, just all the places. It's online at Target and Walmart and all those places. But if you have a local bookstore in your town, metaphysical store, buy it there for sure.
But the biggest thing, because I've been watching it, some of you have been saying in the comments, you got your book. Leslie said Amazon keeps changing the date on her delivery. Go on there and actually leave a good review.
Well, once you read it,
do it before you read it.
Yeah.
Don't read it. Just
buy it first.
An honest review. Honest review.
Write one of those really long reviews to get attention to it.
No, reviews do help. It's the biggest. Benabelle Wynn told me this, and she's right about it. The biggest honor, besides buying the book, that you can give an author is writing them a review. I always was like, oh no, what do I write? I have to be all eloquent in my review. No, you don't. Just write a review. Just say,
that's right.
I enjoyed the book. It's good. You should buy it. And that's good enough. And that's good enough. And it really does make a difference. If you're on Goodreads, it helps on there, wherever. It helps on Soultopia too. I noticed even for my Magic of Connection, I don't think there's even any reviews on there because but Amazon's the biggest place.
Yeah.
That would really make a difference.
And they pull it, they do pull because Amazon pulls from some other places. But they pull from Amazon.
The reviews for just so you know, for Llewellyn, just for those of you, because I know this just because we buy for our stores, the reviews, if you see them there, those are pulled from Goodreads, just so you know. Something I didn't know before. All right, do we want to do 1, 2, 3, or do we have time for some other readings, Matt?
1, 2, 3 is good. I haven't seen anybody chime in that says they want to.
Let's do the 1, 2, 3 because somebody forgot to bring his cards to Colorado.
Well, that's probably because
we're
buy
using
a whole
the
bunch.
same deck.
We'll probably be ordering. This is where the INATS is where we would always go to get all our stuff before we ever knew where to go. So now we order straight from them. So yeah.
There's usually a couple of the designers,
so while he's
artists there, so we always like to meet them and get their decks, and sometimes they sign them for us.
Now we saw them all at Tide, right?
Yeah.
So while he's doing that, this deck is a tarot disassembled. If you didn't meet Jennifer Stidley at Tide, she will be at Newt's in Portland. And by the way, we just talked to the Monarch Hotel tonight, just right before we got on the show, and we don't have many spots left.
Hotel rooms.
We have spots left for tickets, but you need to get your hotel rooms and you need to get your tickets.
Yeah.
So, and especially go ahead and buy your ticket for Thursday. I think Matt's going to be speaking at that. We'll talk
Twist
later.
his arm.
But he's
Twist
supposed
his
to
arm.
be.
Twist his arm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
I'm thinking about it. Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe
that sounds
Anna,
good.
if we can get her.
Yeah, we were
Okay,
just talking
so-
about it this morning, actually.
I listed her name just in case, so I kind of false advertising. I have to take it off if she's not, or y'all. But we're hoping y'all are because you're both invited. All right,
Yes.
so here we go. We're
This is
just
good
gonna do
timing,
it.
by the way,
One, two,
because all the dogs here have just decided that it's time to get up. They've been sleeping
Oh,
here
they're good.
right next to me this entire time, and now they've all decided it's time to get up and start walking around and making a bunch of noise.
No, they're
Yeah.
fine. See,
So-
they heard us talk about
I guess
animal
so, yeah.
companion, so they came in. All right, so Matt, you're gonna do number 2, okay?
Okay.
Are you okay with us? And I'll do 3. Roger, you're gonna do
Yeah.
1.
And if you really love these cards, we have these at the store too.
Yes. So
We
these
have
are
the
at
black.
Soultopia.
They come in, one's in a black box, one's a yellow box. We have both.
Yeah, I got
So
the
we have
sunny
them both.
yellow, and then there's a cool black box too, and they're called tarot disassembled. So you can imagine they're like she pulls out all the symbols of the cards. So just think of the number that you want, 1, 2, or 3, like we do each time, and this will be your reading for the week. So Roger's going to be for those of you who chose number 1. The dogs are fine. All
Well,
right,
they're
so-
just
All right,
clicking
so
all
number
over the
1.
place.
All right. So number 1 I got is the Ten of Swords. See if you can see what that is. So traditionally in the Ten of Swords, the swords are still in the same position, but usually have a person on the ground, right? They're laying down. But really, if you think about it, the swords are pointing down. The sun, you see the little, the sun's kind of setting, looks like kind of setting there with the mountain. I really take this one though, is to kind of pay attention to the things around you. You don't want somebody to take advantage of you. Okay, you don't want to be stabbed in the back, basically, but kind of pay attention of the things around you and make sure you're not being taken advantage of.
Gotcha. All right, Matt.
All right, and again, like usual, I'm using the oblique strategies. This one, I like this one. I actually haven't seen this one before. This says, if that reads, I don't know if anybody can
See
read
it.
that. You can also
I
probably
can.
see. Also, there's a sneezing cat behind me. I have a lot of things going on here. It says, instead of changing the thing, change the world around it. I like that. Like I like the idea of, I think people, when it comes to talking about changing things, it's usually something that we're not a fan of. We want it to be different. We want to change it. Maybe we're focused on something that we want to have different. This says, instead of changing the thing, change the world around it, which could maybe be your perception of it, could maybe be the environment that it's in. Talking about just kind of like the conversation we had earlier about spirits. Instead of focusing on, how is this focusing on the spirit, think about like, how are you approaching it? How are you approaching the world, and how are you approaching the stuff around it? So whatever it is that you may be focused on, instead of focusing on changing that thing, think about changing what other things can you change around it to make it more hospitable, or to make it a little bit more agreeable to you.
I love that. I was hoping you'd say that. Simpatico.
Yeah, there you go.
I love it. Thank you. All right. So I drew the sun, and here is the card disassembled. So she has all the elements that you might. This is fun. This would be a fun way to learn the symbols, that are on the cards. But what really jumped out at me is the horse. Because normally you don't really pay attention to that Rider-Waite-Smith. The baby, typically is on that horse, and that baby really stands out in the sun, right? But the horse just really jumped out at me right there. Mm-hmm. So the sun to me is, and the sun's really big too, but it's the sun card, and the horse is saying, it's like, get on with it. Okay, so it's a happy card. Things are going well. So for this week, things are going to go well for you. It's a positive yes card, but you need to be part of that action. You need to get going with it and assume that it's going to go well instead of just sitting there. It's kind of like the action in the law of attraction. Get on the horse, make sure you get the horse moving, and make sure you make things happen instead of just waiting for the action to happen. Be part of it. So that's my reading for the 3s for this week.
Awesome.
So great show. Thank you, Matt. I liked the animals being see, what's funny? It's when animals or things are around and they affect somebody else more than like it does. We're unplussed. It doesn't even affect us at all. I can't hear them. I mean, I've seen them a little bit, but it's fine with us. And you're like, I've got all this stuff going on around, and it doesn't even.
You can kind of see the cat back there on the cat tree. Right here. She's sneezing.
What's your cat's name?
That's Sushi back here. She's a tortoiseshell. I've also got Pandora and Solomon, and there is a
Dr. Doolittle over there.
There's a cold going around the house. So Solomon had it first, and Pandora has it, and now Sushi started sneezing yesterday. So this is great. They've all been to the vet. They're all costing me $1 million, but it's fine. They're getting better. But yeah, so everybody, and then the dogs are all right here on the ground next to me. I
they
guess
love you.
They're wondering what I'm doing. I'm not normally sitting here for this extended amount of time.
Aw. Well, thank you so much for being here and helping us. And we will keep everyone posted how things go this week. We'll be posting on Instagram and Facebook and all that good stuff. And we will. Oh, so you want to make that announcement?
So next week we won't be on. So we'll have to catch us the following week. And we'll give you kind of some updates on some things that are happening and things that are going on.
Yeah.
Right.
So we hate to miss it, but we try to listen to Matt's great advice and not miss as much as possible. And we really enjoy having this I look forward to every Tuesday night with all of you guys. And if you would share about this show with everyone and share it with all your friends and share about Soultopia, and also just go ahead and look forward to coming to Portland with us. You guys should all come and share the word about that. And until not next week, but the week after, we just wish you all happy times and blessings and that sun card for everybody. Talk to you later.
Night, guys.
Good night.
Thanks for listening to SoulWhat, a Soultopia production. If you're intrigued, searching, or looking to schedule a reading of your very own, visit us in sunny Dallas, Texas, or visit us online at facebook.com/Soultopia Holistic Boutique. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcasting platform to be the first to hear new episodes every Tuesday at 7:30 Central.